Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, February the 17th, 2025. And I always like to start with where is the moon for the day? Because the moon represents the public reactions, the public tone. And the moon will be in cooperative, sociable Libra. And it will be in harmony by mid-afternoon Pacific time with the sun in Aquarius, because Aquarius is an air sign, Libra is an air sign, so they're very compatible energies. And when the sun and the moon are in harmony, the energies seem to just flow more effortlessly. Relationships, especially with the moon in Libra, the socializing seems to flow better. And the sun, and the moon is going to leave Libra, sociable Libra, cooperative Libra, and go into intense, passionate, many times introspective and secretive Scorpio about 4:20 p.m. Pacific time. Where Libra wants to be all things to all people, Scorpio could care less. They're only really focused on their agenda, and whereas Libra wants to be more sociable, that Scorpio energy can be seeking more privacy. Now, Tuesday, the moon's continuing in Scorpio, but at 2:07 a.m. Pacific time, the sun, which had been in Aquarius the past 4 weeks, goes into Pisces. When the background theme of the sun in Pisces is encouraging more charity, compassion, creativity, sensitivity, but you also be more prone to getting your feelings hurt, more mood swings. As the moon is in intense introspective Scorpio continuing on Tuesday, by mid-morning Pacific time, the moon will be in harmony with Mercury, which is in Pisces, a water sign, in harmony with the moon in Scorpio, a water sign. And so when the moon is in harmony with Mercury, you're able to express your feelings more easily. And it's also really favorable for talking about your feelings, writing, speaking. On Wednesday, the moon continues in passionate, introspective Scorpio. It's going to be trining the best flow of energy to grounding, pragmatic, stabilizing Saturn, mid-morning Pacific time, very favorable for discussing business. But by mid-afternoon Pacific time, now the Scorpio moon will be in opposition or confrontation to disruptive, unpredictable Uranus in Taurus. Now that could indicate some unexpected emotional upsets, or maybe just some exciting news. But that moon Uranus can be favorable for breaking old stuck patterns, because the moon has a lot to do with our instinctual patterns and habits. And when that moon is hitting Uranus, Uranus can be this progressive, liberating, freeing energies. So there is that moon Uranus can be pretty good for breaking a habit. Now, on Thursday, the moon continues in Scorpio, but it's going to go void of course at 2:06 a.m., very briefly to 4:55 a.m. Pacific time. As I mentioned once a week, with the moon is changing signs, but it's no longer making aspects to other signs until it goes into the next sign. That's called the void of course period. Meaning if the moon's not making any aspects to other planets until it changes signs, the energy is flat, and you wouldn't want to start an important new event or project when the chart for that event is describing unproductive, flat energies. Now, you can stay the course, stick to your routine, keep doing what you've been doing, good for resting, good for introspection. Just try not to introduce anything important. Then at 4:55 a.m. Pacific time, the moon leaves that kind of more dark, brooding, private Scorpio and goes into Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the eternal student, the eternal traveler. Sagittarians are the adventurous, they're optimistic, they're outgoing. However, by mid-morning, after the moon has gone into Sagittarius, mid-morning Pacific time, the moon will be in tension with the sun. So your feelings, the moon, could be out of sync with the sun, which is your sense of purpose and individuality. Usually, let's always look to the positive here. So the sun is putting a spotlight on your habits to be able to release them. But Mercury, discerning, communication, curious Mercury, is going to be for the day in a hard angle, a square to Jupiter. Your expectations, your decisions, Mercury, could become overinflated, overly optimistic with the Jupiter. So you want to just keep grounded. It's bringing a lot of optimism, but maybe too much of a good thing, and then you act on it, and then you may have to pull back because you were planning, expecting more than what was actually going to happen. On Friday, as the moon is now in Sagittarius, it's going to be around 4 or 5 a.m. Pacific time, in opposition, confrontation to expansive Jupiter. So this is a bit like Mercury on Thursday in a hard angle to Jupiter. Here, our feelings and our emotions could be overly indulgent, overly expansive. Again, stay more practical, stay more grounded. By 7, 8 a.m. Pacific time, now the moon is going to be in a square, a hard angle to Mercury, communication Mercury. So your feelings could be out of sync with rational. So Mercury is logic, the moon is emotional, and these two energies may get confused. So it's not a good period for communications, for making important decisions. And by evening, 8, 9 p.m. Pacific time, now that moon is in a hard angle to Saturn. And so that could trigger a lot of worries. There's a lot of endings, a lot of sadness. So Friday is an uncomfortable day for making decisions and communications and conversations. On Saturday, the moon continues in this optimistic Sagittarius, but it's also going to be in tension, a square to nebulous foggy Neptune around noon, 1 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon goes void, of course, at 12:39 p.m. until 3:09 p.m. Pacific time, when the moon goes into Capricorn. Sagittarius, there's all this enthusiasm and the big picture. Capricorn, the energy is more grounding, more practical, more organized, more sensible, good for business. Moon in Sag, good for traveling, good for education, good for sports, being very outgoing and enthusiastic. With Capricorn, though, there's more of this motivation to get the job done, to accomplish your goals and your task. So we go into Sunday with the moon in practical Capricorn. This is a very important day because Mars has been retrograde, as it does every 2 years, but it's been retrograde since December the 6th. And on Sunday, the 23rd, Mars goes direct. It'll be official around 6 p.m. Pacific time. When Mars is, everything that Mars represents, from being very hardworking and assertive and ambitious, all of that seems to get slowed down, taking more effort. But for the whole world, on Sunday, that Mars is releasing a lot of pent-up energies. So it's like you're like jumping out of the gate here and hitting the ground running. It's not going to happen overnight, but slowly you're starting to get really motivated and excited. And as the Mars is going direct, releasing all this pent-up energies, it's going to be trining or in harmony with communication Mercury. So our minds were going to be very stimulated with all kinds of new goals and projects and ideas to really want to see, get going again, because all of that resistance and that sluggishness is dissipating, and we're now off and running to get going on all our goals for the new year. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.